Hello and welcome to my introduction of Real-Time Landscape Architect. Real-Time Landscape Architect is a 2D, 3D software, industry-specific software. For this software, we use some of the basic tools such as the Plan Perspective Walkthrough tabs, the giant library of objects and site amenities, the region, house, deck, patio, and more specific material tools, the plant list tools, different viewpoints, and other features such as importing tools in the Layers tab. All tools that make modeling in this software super easy and simple to learn. Real-Time Landscape Architect about you can follow the link at the top of the page to go to Real-Time Landscape Architecture's website. Just like AutoCAD and Dynascapes, Real-Time Landscaping had a main work area. It was very similar but also very different. In Real-Time, there is three different workspaces. The first one is the plan area. This is where you work in 2D. You can insert and scale your templates here and add your planning material and do your basic designing just like in AutoCAD and Dynascapes. Then you can switch to perspective mode where you can work on your 3D model. This allows you to see exactly where your plants and other material will line up. This feature was great to use. This is one of the biggest advantages to this software over AutoCAD or Dynascapes. You can also use the walkthrough mode. In this mode, you can go through your model to simulate like you were walking. You could also make walkthrough videos like you can find below on the page. Much like Dynascapes, Real-Time Landscaping had an already made library of site amenities and pre-made materials that were already scaled. This is very convenient to add very different accessories right into the model I worked on. Real-Time Landscaping Figures library had more pre-made site amenities than what Dynascape had, but on the other hand, Dynascapes had a bigger plant library. I will talk about that in an upcoming slide, all about the plant list and library. One feature that Real-Time had over Landscapes was you could add lighting designs to your landscape. Unlike any of the software I have covered in other videos, Real-Time had specific tools for making things. The four that I will cover in the next two slides will be the region, house, deck, and patio tools. Other tools that we use included the path tool, the hedge tool, and the windows and doors tool. The first tool I'm going to touch on is the region tool. I use this tool to draw in my flower beds and turf. This allows you to choose different types of visible materials. For example, I chose black mulch for my flower beds and grass for my turf. There was also choices like brown mulch or just any type of mulch. When in when in Dynascapes or AutoCAD, when you wanted to make an area with a pattern, you had to draw it out and then use the hatching tool. With Real-Time, it's all included within one tool, which is super convenient and easy to use. There was many different types of materials to choose from depending on what type of region you were making. The next tool is the house tool. This allows you to build the whole house so you can view it in your 3D model. You can edit the house material and the roof material within this tool. This is much different from Dynascapes and AutoCAD, where you could only just trace out the outline of the house. You could then add windows and doors to your house. Again, with the built-in features you could use from what style of windows you would like. Onto the deck tool. I use this tool to create the covered outdoor dining area. Again, just like the region tool, it has patterns and materials built in that you can change and edit. You can add railings and steps as well if you wanted. For this project, I turned that feature off. The last tool that I'm going to talk about is the patio tool. This tool is very similar to the other tools, but just used for hardscaping instead of wooden decks. Within this tool, you can change the main material of the patio, and you can add a border as well if you would feel. For most of my designs, I turned the border off. There's a wide range of hardscaping materials that you can choose from, like flagstone patterns and other things. Like I said earlier, the use of this tool with the material built in is much nicer than the AutoCAD and Dynascapes where you had to draw your shape and then add hatching. The next tool I used was a selection of the plant tools. In real-time landscaping, you can choose to plant individual plants with the plant tool, but if I wanted to plant a full row of plants or a cluster of plants, I can choose the plant row or plant fill tool. This allowed me to plant several plants at once, unlike in Dynascapes and AutoCAD where you had to constantly copy and paste for each new plant. Now, Dynascapes did have a way larger plant selection than what Real-Time did. I found that I wanted to place certain plants and Real-Time did not have them within their software. Another thing that I found great was that to make a plant list, all you had to do was click on the plant list tool and it created one for you. With Real-Time being a 3D software, you can create quick snap viewpoints. You can set this point so you can snap to a zone where one would want to see again. For this project, I set one at the front of the house and one to overlook the outdoor dining in the backyard. Just like in AutoCAD and Dynascapes, I use layers throughout my project. I do have to say I preferred the layer tool in Dynascapes over the Real-Time, just because Dynascapes come with pre-made layers right away. Much like in AutoCAD, I had to go through and make/name each layer. Another tool we used was the import wizard. Importing a template into real-time was super easy. I went into the tools, selected the model import wizard, selected how I wanted to be inserted, then selected my template and inserted it and scaled 1:1. Wrapping up my time with Real Landscape Architect, I would say that I will use the software again. The use of the key tools that I overviewed in this presentation made using the software super easy and smooth. Other than having to type in layers, I don't have any dislikes about this software.